Premier League predictions, round 37.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions for the penultimate round of Premier League predictions. As always, we put timestamps down in the description and you can also use the chapters feature on the video itself. That's if you want to. If you want to jump ahead to certain games, you can certainly use those features. But as Tom is gesturing, you shouldn't. Just sit down, watch the whole video. If you wait around till the end, Thomas will give you some shout outs. And without wasting any more time, let's dive in to the first match.
Oh my god, and it's a doozy. Liverpool host Chelsea Football Club.
Young man, I think you forgot to say champions Liverpool, European champions and world champions Liverpool versus Chelsea. Yes, they came a little bit of cropper against Arsenal and everybody's making such a big deal about them not being able to get 100 points, which is like, who gives a fuck? Tom, when Man United won the treble, do you remember how many points they got?
No,
because nobody cares about these stupid bloody things. It's been a wonderful season. You can't take the gloss off it. It was only the fact they made two stupid mistakes and Arsenal punished them, and then they laid siege to Arsenal in the second half, but just couldn't get the job done. But when I talk about Arsenal, that story will be very different, let me tell you. And I expect them to beat this Chelsea side. This Chelsea side are going to have a tough game up against Man United in the FA Cup, and I just think Liverpool want to put that bad result against Arsenal to one side, and I think they'll want to get a win in this one, and I think they will win. I think it will be 3-1 Liverpool.
Right, Ian, so as you said, Chelsea have a very tough match against Man United, although it will probably be a depleted Man United side. As we saw, they're extremely tired as they just came to a 2-0 win over Palace, but they looked exhausted. I mean, it was probably...
like excuses to me, Thomas.
It was probably the luckiest performance they've had, but this Chelsea side, they beat Norwich 1-0. We know they're a liability at the back, but even they can beat Norwich. Like you said, Liverpool, fantastic season. They're probably going to win this, though. Chelsea, we talked about them to death at this point. Really don't need me to highlight them too much more. 3-0, Liverpool.
It's a bad time for Chelsea to play Liverpool because they really don't want to slip up at this point.
I think also the best sides, like the top four sides, are the sides that go out and lose a game and then come back and just smash the next team. And we saw it today with like Leicester coming back, and the best teams always do that.
AFC Bournemouth versus Southampton. Yeah.
So Ian, I'm going to leave Eddie, my spirit animal, to you. I'm going to talk about a spirited Saints side led by Ralph Hasenhüttl that put in the worst first half performance I've seen them play in a while and the best second half performance I've seen them play in a while. My God, it was a ridiculous game. Neil Maupay gave him the lead, just really slack defending, just not getting close enough. And at halftime, I thought Southampton were done for. They brought on some of their regulars in the second half, and they were really good. Danny Ings, just absolutely ridiculous. He hit the post. Vestergaard from 30 yards pings a shot on goal. Somehow Matt Ryan gets his hand to it, comes off the inside of the crossbar, bounces down, and then goes out for a corner. Just absolute anarchy. But Southampton were quality, and they look like they're ending the season with a bit of energy. Obviously, a 2-2 draw against United, following that, a 1-1 draw. And I gotta be honest with you, I think Bournemouth are down at this point. I think Bournemouth and Villa are both down, and as much as they're gonna fight for it, something about the Southampton side just tells me that they're gonna hold on. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw.
South Coast derby. I think it's going to bring the best out of Eddie Howe, Thomas. That's right, I am backing your spirit animal to get a win, and it very much is the hope that kills you, isn't it, Bournemouth fans? Looked dead and buried when you were losing to Leicester at half-time. Somehow came out and turned that game around. Vikram Solanke, out of nowhere, discovered that reminded himself that he was and the world, actually, reminded everybody that he's actually a footballer. And not just somebody that we heard of a couple of years ago. But that was a great performance. They were unlucky against Man City. They could have nicked a point in that one. They went down 2-1, but at the end of the game, Bournemouth certainly had their chances. They could have easily come out of that one with a point. They still have hope. And this one will certainly give them even more hope. I think Bournemouth are going to win this. I think it's going to be 2-1 to the Cherries.
Bloody hope it is, Ian. I bloody hope it is. Brighton and Hove Albion versus Newcastle United.
Well, you know who I'm going to talk about, Tom. I'm going to talk about Newcastle. They haven't been in great form, unfortunately. They're not entering the season as strong as they could have done, which is very disappointing for the second coming of Kevin Keegan.
I will love it if we beat them.
They were well on top of Spurs, but Spurs were extremely clinical in that game and punished Newcastle for their woeful finishing, despite a good goal from Matt Ritchie to get them back level in that game. It's such a strange one, really, because it leaves me thinking about this Newcastle side. If they do have this stumbling end, it does give the board a good opportunity to, or whoever that board is going to be, if there's a takeover, a good opportunity to move the second coming to one side, which would be a travesty, Newcastle fans, and I really hope that doesn't happen. So you need to win this game. Do it for your town, do it for your city, do it for your county, and do it for your manager, Newcastle players, because you'll never get a better manager than this. Brighton 1, Newcastle 2.
I just watched the most nuts Brighton versus Southampton game. Brighton are in control in the first half. Neil Maupay becomes only a second player for Brighton to ever score 10 goals in a top league season. They look well on their way to winning this match, and the second half starts, and it's like Graham Potter's turn to his players and go, right, we need 11 players behind the ball. No, stop, back, in front. Yeah, okay, cool, right there, 18-yard line. It was terrible. I don't think they got out of their half. It was the most backs-to-the-wall performance in a match that they were in control of. It was like watching England at the World Cup 10 years ago. If we're winning,
10?
everyone
10?
get back.
10?
Okay. It was like watching England at the last World Cup go 1-0 up against Croatia and then go, you know what we should do? We should defend for the next 90 minutes. It was tough to watch. But Brighton are basically safe now. They're 6 points above the relegation zone. They have a 9-goal difference on Villa. And as the Draw Kings, I think they're going to draw this match 1-1.
Aston Villa versus Arsenal.
Right, I'm going to make this...
Wait. Before you talk, you've got to be nice to them. You have to be nice to them after what they've just done, Thomas. You're not allowed to give Arsenal any shit. They gave me a perfect score, a golden perfect score they gave me. It was worth at least 10 points.
I did notice you marked it in gold, not green. I'd like to congratulate Liverpool Football Club, the first team this season to make Arsenal look like a good footballing side. Well done. The only team that apparently can't put David Luiz on his ass. Arsenal, though, credit to them. They've gone out, they've beaten this Liverpool side. They were relatively value for money. They took advantage of 2 mistakes from 2 players that I don't think have made a mistake all season long. It's absolutely nuts. But they won it, and they're on another good run. And they seem to maybe this is becoming a hallmark of Arteta's reign, but when they are firing in all cylinders, they do a lot better. They won the previous fixture 3-2. And I hate to say this, Villa fans, but I don't see you even getting 2 goals in this. I think you're down. I think this is where you find out you're down. Arsenal 3, Villa 1.
Oh, Villa fans. Oh, again, as I said about Bournemouth, it is the hope that kills you, isn't it? Finally, your players have responded and realised that you're in a relegation scrap. The last 2 games have been so much better, so much more energy and intensity. Great win against Palace. You finally got someone that can stick the ball in the net in Trezeguet, which gives you that much needed win that you haven't had for ages. You take that into the Everton game. You take the lead in the second half through a set piece. You look like for all the world you're going to hold on to it. And who scores the equaliser? Theo bloody Walcott with a header. Theo Walcott, who I think he has like 2 moments of excellence in a season these days, Theo Walcott, and this was certainly one of them. And it came at the worst time for Villa, because that leaves them desperate for points once again, desperate for a win. It's a bad time to play Arsenal, although they'll hope that City have absolutely kicked the stuffing out of them in the FA Cup, because Arsenal look like they do look like they've got a bit of steel about them now, which is weird to say. And I think Arsenal win as well, Tom. I'm going to match your score, 3-1 Arsenal. Thomas, watch out! The Eagles are coming.
Because it's Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Crystal Palace.
Well, I've just seen Crystal Palace lose to Manchester United. It was a much better performance than what they've been used to lately, but that is 6 defeats in a row for Roy Hodgson's side, and it does leave them much lower in the table where you thought they would finish. Not included in this game, I think in recent weeks a lot of his players have let him down and let Crystal Palace down, but they were a lot better today. They had a lot more intensity, a lot more effort in the play, and they could have easily got back 1-1. It was one of those offside decisions for Ayew, which was like a big toe offside, and it was given. Very unfortunate, because at that point they were well on top of Man United. And there was also a penalty shout as well they could have had in the first half, which of course Man United scored straight after that, which changed the game quite a lot. So they'll be, feeling rather unlucky on that front. And it's not a great end to the season for Hodgson, but at least he looks like he's got the players playing a little bit better. But I just can't see them getting anything out of this Wolves game. I think Wolves are going to be too strong for them again. I think it's going to be 2-1 Wolves.
Let's talk about Jimenez, who we've highlighted all season. What a absolutely ridiculous goal for Wolves. I mean, holy hell. He catches that ball so sweetly from like 16 yards out and absolutely just plants it into the side netting. Traoré is looking good as well. The whole team at Wolves seem to have come out of their kind of mini slump. The 1-1 draw, I mean, what a weird handball to give up. And obviously, even I think Chris Wood said he didn't see it. I think a lot of the players didn't see it.
Again, this isn't a VAR problem. This is a Mike Riley who's given it. So then VAR can't overturn it. But it's just so weird to give a handball for a situation where it looks like a player's only put his hand up because he thinks he's going to get kicked.
Yeah, and it's weak, but they drew 1-1. But this Wolves team, we've talked about them all season. They've had a really good year. They should probably be talked about more. Obviously, their chase for Champions League is probably over at this point. So now 6 points off United, but Spurs are breathing down their neck. Sheffield United are breathing down their neck. They need to be in the Europa League again next year. They're easily a favourite if they are in the Europa League. I mean, they're a favourite this year to get close to the finals. I see them beating this Palace side. I feel bad for Roy. I think his players are on the beach. I really do, and it's unfortunate because Wilfried Zaha seems to have only just woken up in the last couple of games, but they seem to have a lot of fight in them, and this Wolves team are snarling. I'm gonna go for a 3-1 victory to the Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Norwich City versus Burnley.
And let me end this quickly because I've been given Norwich. They're bad. They're going down. They offer very little. They're going to pass the ball around a lot, and they're going to look good for about 60 minutes of the game. They're only going to have about 30% possession, and they're going to lose. They're going to lose by 2-0.
Yeah, I can't see, obviously you can't see Burnley slipping up against this Norwich side. Burnley coming off the back of two really good results, two good fight backs actually. 1-1 draw against Liverpool, back that up with a 1-1 draw against Wolves. It was a very tight game. It looked like that Jimenez belter was going to settle it, but Burnley do not give up. And even though Chris Wood missed arguably the biggest sitter of the season, where he missed pretty much an open goal from about 3 yards, he did have the courage to step up and take the penalty a few moments later and beautifully side-footed it into the very top corner of the goal. So Burnley, they just show they're hard to beat. You can't, they don't really, and they never give up. So hard luck, Norwich. You're going to lose. And I'm going to go one more. Sod it. Field day for Burnley. 3-0.
Have you ever seen Burnley score 3 goals, just out of interest?
So write it down, Burnley fans. This will be the time.
Sheffield United versus Everton. Ian, I'm getting late breaking news. That's right. We are on top of a news story for once.
Is it college NASCAR?
It is. And it's back. No, this is obviously going to come out tomorrow, so it won't count. But apparently, Everton are in talks to sign Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and apparently Spurs are also bidding. Both clubs, it's looking like 14 million plus add-ons. Obviously, Højbjerg was stripped of the Saints captaincy. This has literally come up since we talked about Southampton. But this is big news, and would this be Ancelotti's first signing?
I think so. I mean, he might have signed a couple of people in the January window, but no one substantial. This would be his first big signing. But yeah, he was going to go to someone in the Premier League, wasn't he? I mean, it was obvious he didn't want to stay at Southampton. He fancied himself to play for a bigger club. Are Everton a bigger club?
By about one position, I think. About one
Probably.
Position.
But
it's one position. They're equal on points. Everton are 2 up on goal difference.
Thomas,
Go Blues.
Tell me, as much as I want to hear you talk about Everton, I'd rather hear you talk about Sheffield United.
Yeah, so Sheffield United completely capitulated today. I don't know what happened against Leicester, but from the off, it was like they could not be bothered to play. I'll be honest, I had lost interest in the game by the time it went to 2-0 because Sheffield weren't offering anything. I can't even remember it, but the first goal, it was like, you even text me like, it doesn't look that bad. It looks worse when you realise that everybody has stepped off their man and they're just allowing space. The ball gets switched to the far side and they're outnumbered. And this is a Sheffield United side that normally works so hard they're never outnumbered. Like, they get beaten, but you have to grind them down and score quality goals. And it didn't happen in this. Iosi Perez had time to have a sandwich before he struck the ball into the back of the net. It was weak. It's the epitome of the end of the season and teams being tired. But like, would you ever bet on a Chris Wilder side looking tired? No, because he's a cane in the back and he whips them with it if they don't perform. You just expected more and they didn't.
A rare blip, Thomas, I would say.
What? I enjoyed Chris Wilder's interview afterwards where he quite literally said you're going to have to go speak to the players about what happened because I have no idea. He was as shocked as everyone else.
He's not a very good manager.
Yes, he's the worst. That's why Sheffield United are bottom of the... they're doing quite well. Just check the tail. They're doing quite well. I think they'll beat this Everton side, who've done well to dig deep against Villa, but I think Chris Wilder's going to go absolutely nuts at his team. They're going to come out and win this. The reverse of this fixture was 2-0 Everton. I think this is 2-0 Sheffield United.
I also think we will see Chris Wilder celebrating much like this fashion as Oxford did in a playoff victory over York 10 years ago. Not like the playoffs. And yes, because Sheffield United are an excellent side, but also because Everton are playing terribly. The last 10 minutes maybe in the game against Aston Villa is the first time I've seen Everton play at half decent football for ages. They look so on the beach. They look so not interested. Ancelotti was stood on the sideline for most of the game just like this. Like, oh my God, this is my team. It's almost like he's literally in his mind. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. It is going to be a fire sale at Everton over the summer. So yeah, I just think they've been so lethargic. I think the Sheffield United will want a response. I think they'll win 2-0. As I said, Theo Walcott stepped up and saved them in the last game, and it was a really good goal by Theo Walcott, I must say. Really good, header over the goal, placed header over the goalie. But that'll be it now for him till maybe one time in November where he's
March next year.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Ian, I got to ask you a question. Do not take this out in the editing process. Do you think Carlo Ancelotti will be able to stop this Everton side from buying Jesse Lingard? Because this club love to buy rejects off top 4 and 5 clubs. That is what they do. Half their team is do you just play for Arsenal? Do you just play for Man United? We'll take you.
It's hard to say. You would think that Ancelotti will have a lot to do with the transfers, but you never know these days. A lot of managers just don't.
Yeah. That leads us into a manager that does. Because Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur host Leicester City.
And you've got to give it to Jose, really, haven't you? I mean, I've been very critical of his Tottenham side and of his style, but they are getting results and they're doing the business. They won the North London derby, very luckily, I must say. But they were clinical, and they were clinical against Newcastle as well. I mean, when you've got players like Son and you've got players like Kane, you're always going to score goals and create chances, and it's just a matter of keeping them out at the other end. This one, though, is going to be really interesting. It's a Leicester side that really do need the points as well. They just don't want to take it down. They need to stay ahead of Man United, ahead of that final round showdown against Man U. So I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think this one might be a draw, actually. I think it's going to be a draw. I'm going to say 1-1.
For all the Jose Mourinho and Spurs detractors, they're pretty much nearly guaranteed Europa League football. You feel like you look at Sheffield United, you look at Wolves. The Spurs side have so much talent oozing out of them. I love Wolves and I love this Sheffield United team, but Kane and Son, it's just ridiculous. And they have a really strong midfield. Lloris seems to be back as a good goalkeeper, and they're winning dirty games. And that, as much as we talk about this Spurs side that was so fluid and attacking, they didn't win any important matches, right? They've lost every time they've needed to win a game in the Premier League. They've gone from 2nd to 4th before. They just the league was there. They should have won it the year Leicester won it. And at the end of the season, they just literally disappeared off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
And Jose doesn't let his teams do that. They may be boring. We may not like the style of football, but he's kept Spurs in the hunt for Europe the entire time. And I think that he's going to look at this game and he's going to know exactly what to do to just needle Leicester City a little bit. And I think he'll win it. I think he was in charge when Chelsea obviously beat Spurs when they were in the title run-in, wasn't he? And, he celebrates...
That sounds right in my mind, I think.
He loves to ruin other people's parties. He's a miserable bastard. So I'm going to get A Tottenham Hotspur victory here. I think it's going to be 2-0 to the Spurs.
Watford versus Manchester City.
I'm going to do this quickly. I'm going to talk about Watford. Watford have not played yet. Watford are near the relegation zone. Watford are lucky that Villa did not win today. Watford are 3 points above the relegation zone and have a slightly better goal difference than the people around them. Watford are one of the more boring teams to play. You would think Nigel Pearson teams would have more about them. This one does not. Watford are going to lose to Manchester City. Watford are going to lose 5-0 to Manchester City.
Yeah, but this game does have big implications for Watford. I mean, if I'm predicted Bournemouth to get that win, that would put Bournemouth level on points with Watford going into the final game. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen Watford play West Ham yet. That game is coming up tomorrow. My God, these Premier League, they stretch these games out, don't they? So, obviously, if Watford win that one, that will ease the pressure on this one. But if not, this one is one where they could just lose by a cricket score like they did in the reverse game where Man City won 8-0, which seems a bloody lifetime ago. Although, by the way, I just want to say, like a cricket score, 0-0 is technically a cricket score. But anyway, I think Man City will also win. I think Man City will win 3-0. Yeah, we did a really in-depth deep dive on Man City there, Tom.
Man City won this week. Man City won the week before. Man City won the week before that. Man City have scored 12 goals in their last 3 games.
Okay,
averaged out. That's 4 goals a game.
Cut.
They are the best side of their generation.
So to round round 37, we come to the only game that really matters. We come to the main event.
It's a battle of the old enemies as Manchester United host West Ham United.
It's a West Ham side that still need points, but as I said, we are filming this before they play Watford, so they may already be pretty much safe by the time they take on the Red Devils. But to tell you more about it is resident expert Manchester United fan, Thomas Pickering.
Yes, so Man United managed to overcome possibly their worst result since the restart of a 2-2 draw with Southampton by beating Palace 2-0. It was not clean, it was not pretty, it was painful to watch if you're a Man United supporter. For multiple parts of the game, you thought it was at least going to be a draw, they were going to lose. But they came up big, and a fit Marcus Rashford made a really big difference to them here. Martial on insane form, and just the team in general, they're a different side, they're gutting out wins, and it's tough to talk about that Palace result like it was fantastic, but De Gea's been quite good in goal. Yeah, he's made a couple errors, but 90% of the time, he's one of the best goalkeepers on earth.
Good save today.
And this United side, they know they need to win, and they're gutting through the results, and they're not losing either, which is a big thing and a big difference to United even 6 months ago, where they could easily have lost that game to Palace, like 3-2 even, and no one would have been surprised at their ability to do that. West Ham probably need the win, but I don't think that'll matter here. This United team is too fluid. Hopefully they've had a decent break post Chelsea. I think they play Chelsea on Sunday, and this game comes on Wednesday. And I've got a United victory here. I think it's going to be 3-0.
Yeah, Man United are constantly coming up against sides that have got more rest than them from the previous game. They weren't pretty, and that would have been a game Man United would have dropped points in earlier on in the season for sure, but now they've got the confidence to just find a way to win way better than they had at the start of the season, and when they went up through the gears, they had more quality than Palace. But West Ham are playing well. West Ham are in good form themselves. Moisey's got his side playing well and has pulled him away pretty much, he would have thought, away from danger, although Bournemouth and Villa getting those wins would have worried them a little bit more. I think they'll put them in a good performance here. I don't think they'll lose 3-0. I think this will be a tight game, but I do think Man United will win it. I think they'll just edge it, and I think it'll be Man United 2, West Ham 1.
Okay, everybody, it's time for a couple shout-outs to everyone that commented on our page. Ollie Hambling, well done. Really good call with the Burnley Wolves 1-1 draw.
I said that one too.
No one likes you, Ian. No one likes you. Thank you, George. We are underrated. I agree. Arsenal are also overrated. I agree. Robert Allen, thank you for your comments. Apparently, we're about to get paid to sing "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles" because apparently we thought I'm not getting into this. Robert Allen, get off my channel.
Yes,
out.
Our channel. There you go.
Whatever. Ethan Hawkins, we will be looking to do live follow-alongs for matches, really hoping we can get the FA Cup sorted out. But as you may have noticed in our first one, we have some audio issues to sort out first before we do this again.
If you enjoy echoey feed, then join us for a live stream.
Also, if you know anything about how to get rid of the echoey feed, please message us.
Or if you like echoey feed,
then definitely follow us. Jake Green, as always, thank you. Shane O'Donnell, again, a really good job with this Burnley Wolves game. Why did everyone else get that right and I couldn't do it?
I got it right too.
It's okay. He predicted a Newcastle win just like you did. Fools.
Savvy.
James AVFC18. Yeah, we hate on Villa. Do you know why we hate on Villa? Because you've won one game in your last 12 now. You can't pull out the win, mate. You're going down. I'm sorry. I don't hate Villa, but you're just not good enough to stay in the league.
Go on, the villains.
Kurt, really well done. You predicted a 0-0 draw with Burnley and Wolves, because apparently that's the only result I'm looking at in anyone's predictions. We get you that we probably should do these at the end of all the fixtures, but if we were doing that, we'd be making this video on Friday at 10 o'clock.
Wait till next season. You wait till next season.
We've already pre-recorded all of it, haven't we?
Exactly. That's what I was going
really hope Brentford get into the league, because if not... Again, guys, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, following. Thank you for coming down to the live follow-alongs. Thank you for showing an interest in just sitting with us for 90 minutes and watching a game. Though, having listened to Chris Sutton literally say earlier that he hadn't kept track of the substitutions, didn't know how many they'd made, and didn't know which Brighton players had gotten on the pitch from the bench, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're probably better. But thank you so much. We love you all, and we'll see you next week.